I think the overwhelming thing for the business model is first to reduce the uncertainty. And this, as in the Climate Change Committee and what is happening in the UK, requires government to actually say this is the direction we're going on a long term, and for everyone to agree this is the direction we're going. So that's the overriding thing, I think, is to make it easier for people to see that this is a lesser risk, that we're going in this direction. The actual business model, I'm not an expert myself, but I can see opportunities for the smaller scale, whether they be photovoltaics, solar power in some way, or perhaps wind, smaller industries linking with residences and building up from a smaller base might be easier. The carbon capture and sequestration model is a very important one, I believe, that we've got to be able to capture the carbon from power stations and sequester it either in building material or else under the ground. But that is very large-scale funding required for that, long time scale and demonstration projects going through eventually to the market maybe in 2025, 2030. And so really those need government assistance and large-scale demonstrations, and those should be international demonstrations. So really I would concentrate on the small and local thing that one could build on and develop, because the residential nature, the individual household of the individual person and how they can easily make the right decisions in their own lifestyle is crucial here. So everyone will need this, and the small businesses can start by giving those people the easy choice, making it easy for them to make a choice which is helpful in terms of mitigating climate change. So if we can reduce the amount of energy that is used to heat water, to cook, to cool, whatever is done, then that would be great for mitigating climate change and an easier way to build businesses. There is no doubt if the world population could stabilize at 3 billion people, this would make handling climate change a lot easier. At the moment, the thoughts are that the population will stabilize at around, or stop growing at around 9 billion. So, it is difficult to stand outside and say this is what should happen in any individual country. And clearly the decisions have to be made in individual countries about population growth and how to handle this. But every country realizes that just in terms of the infrastructure it has to provide, and certainly in terms of dealing with the emissions of greenhouse gases, then the problem becomes worse the larger the population becomes. At the moment, we think that at the 9 billion level, then every citizen in the world might have an entitlement in 2050 of about 2 tons of carbon, of CO2 per year. Now, if the population was 3 billion, that could be 6 tons of carbon dioxide per year. So the one would be a lot easier than the other. And if countries of the world can do anything to stabilize their populations at a lower level than presently anticipated, that will certainly help them progressing forward to the developed state they wish to be. And it will help the world in dealing with climate change. The opportunities for Indians, let me start with the research. Then I believe that this climate change and climate variability in change, because I like to link the two, are so important that if we started science now, there's no way we would have the concentration we have in some areas. Thinking about the first second of the universe is clearly intellectually challenging and very important. But actually thinking about the next 100 years of human beings on Earth and the rest of the natural world, I think is actually, to me, rather more important. So when one's thinking of a career, you could say, well, what is going to be important for this planet? What will be the expanding opportunities? And so for students, those are in understanding the problem and in how to adapt to the changes that occur and how to try and minimize those changes. So getting into the technologies that will be needed. And that is the opportunity also for those in business. Here is the place that, if you think now, the world's been in a recession. And as we come out of that, what are the technologies that will be so important in 30 years' time? Where should I put my money in terms of starting a company? What's going to be the rapidly expanding areas? I think it's very clear. Climate change and the limitation of resources, both oil, gas, and to a certain extent coal, all point in the same direction. We should be trying to minimize our use of these fossil fuels, and we should be dealing with the clean technologies that will be required. Those are what will be expanding in future. So if you're starting out now in education or in terms of a company, look to where the future is. Another aspect of the choice for young people is thinking what the funding situation will be in future. And I know in the UK there are expanding opportunities in the areas associated with the problems and their solutions. And there are new arrangements taking place in the university, new groupings organised around these new ideas. And I'm sure in India the same opportunities will be developing. Often universities, academia is just a little bit slow in seeing where it's going to go, but it's starting to happen, and I'm sure the funding will follow. As many foundations are starting to see that this is where they should put their money, and research councils all around the world are seeing this is the new direction. So the established departments sometimes try and put a brake on this, but that's where the real opportunities will be in future.